All right, let's get straight to the uncomfortable truth right from the jump. Most people go their entire lives and never achieve anything that actually matters to them. Not because they're lazy, not because they're stupid, but because they've been sold a lie that if they just believe or manifest or stay positive, that the universe will hand them their dreams. That is flat out the most sneaky Pete type of piss poor advice that somehow has been passed along like it is something preached out of the mouth of the freaking Pope. And out of all the advice that's out there, this is at the top of the list of the crap that pisses me off to no end. So today we're going to be going deep for a bit. We're going to walk through why most people stay stuck, what the real cost of meaningful achievement actually is, and why success is happening every single day, whether you like it or not, and how the FQ3C system gives you a fighting chance to shift your odds and build something that lasts. Also, we're going to step on some toes, and it will be fun for me. And we'll look at extremes, use real examples from my own life, break down the math of odds, and at the end, you're going to know exactly what you can do to start working through your achievement and your success today. And if you're tired of banging your head against the same wall, and if you're the type who wants legacy, impact, or just wants to stop feeling like you're wasting your potential, then stick with me because this one's going to be raw, but it might be the most important time that you spend this year. So let's start with why most people never achieve anything. The brutal diagnosis. Now, this is the interesting part to me. So we're going to first look at the extremes. You wake up every day and your heart beats, your lungs breathe, your brain processes the world, and you are prompted to eat some breakfast or take a shower, or maybe you just keep on banging that alarm clock. Those are objectives being completed in every second of the first moments of your day. My day starts off by turning over in bed and looking at my calendar for the day, and then I knock something out before I even get out of bed. Now, this isn't to say there's a wrong or right way to wake up in the morning, but what this does tell you is that you are doomed to succeed at the micro level just by being alive and breathing. But achievement, now that's the rare part. Achievement is when the world notices, when it earns applause, awards, or real impact. It generally would be some sort of accolade that has been attained for it to be considered something that's even an achievement in the first place. Now, don't worry, because most people confuse the two. So they feel like failures, even though they're actually succeeding every damn day at staying alive and getting through the day. Do you realize how hard it is to live? Do you realize the odds of you just even having being born? Seriously, a single shot coming out of the male counterpart of humans is billions of sperm, and you were the one that came out. That is insanity. You've been winning since before you were even born. You've been successful since before you ever had your first heartbeat. So why be depressed? Why try and approach all this stuff as if you're a victim? Are you kidding me? You're successful. You're successful every day. You've been successful your whole life. So the real question is then, why do most people never reach meaningful achievement? I would fiercely argue that it is because they've been fed fluff. Manifest your dreams. Think positive. The universe has your back. I'm channeling the good vibes. We need to think about everyone's emotions. And I could go on, and eventually one of these things are going to make you want to jump through that screen and get your hands around my neck. But before you get all riled up and take a second, just think about it. After looking at this problem, we at FQ3C went through as much data as we could to finally figure out the true odds of what it takes to achieve anything. Even my mentor talked about me having stinking thinking all the time as really the root of the reason why I was experiencing some of the worst challenges you could ever face in the United States, let alone life. Now, to all of you stinking thinking, yes, it absolutely can be the problem and be the thing that is actually holding you back. But these affirmations and mantras and manifestation rituals are a tiny spice of the recipe at best. In fact, we spent the time to calculate it out to be just 5% of your odds. Most people are like, nah, there's no way. Yes, it's just 5% with all the studies and all the data over decades. The massive bulk of your odds boil down to actually writing a fully comprehensive goal, ensuring that you have data to track, and then tracking that data, and finally have final, and I repeat, formal accountability. Intentional polarization then after that, and acceptance of the cost. Most people want the dream without the dirt. They want the win without the war. They let comfort win and slowly corrode their potential. I've spoken before on how family can be the biggest distraction, so they let the family noise win. They let shiny distractions win. And then they wonder why nothing changes. I've lived this too many times to count. And I almost lost my marriage fighting to prove that FQ3C works. In fact, I wrote my first full 62,000 word book in 16 days while my wife was ready to walk. And that doesn't even account for the other 7,000 words that I lost due to mistakes in the very beginning of that process. And you can go to Facebook and look at all this as well. Now, listen, her in-laws also thought I was wasting time. And they started getting her ear. And honestly, I could have let her doubt distract me. But instead, I measured the cost and I kept going. The proof of FQ3C and writing the book showed up later, but the cost was very real. You can go on to FQ3C's the success page on Facebook and see my entire entries that literally show you the struggles as they happened. And if you want, you can see that proof. Now, enough about my sob story for a second, because we really don't really care about that, or some of you might consider it a victory story, however you want to view it. But let's talk about what it takes for everyone else to succeed these days. Now, you hear all the big gurus and speakers talking about achieving success. I am here to tell you that that is a very empty statement and wasn't thought out very well. There's a very big difference between success and achievement. And the distinction is something that changes everything for many people that I've talked with. So success is simply completion. Completion of any objective, right? Ready, I started it, done. Success. Right? Tying your shoes, success. Breathing right now, success. Drinking water, whoa, success. Right? You are doomed to succeed every single moment you're alive because you're wired for objectives. Now, achievement is slightly different. Achievement is when that success gets external validation, applause, recognition, awards, legacy. It requires a series of successes pointed towards a singular goal with ruthless conviction, and the world notices. Now, before we get into semantics, for those of you who love the comment section like this, it is important to point out the fact that there is a difference. And don't be a stickler about, okay, all these possible circumstances where there may be outliers. Okay, we're here to talk about the general most circumstances, most outcomes, right? How most things unfold. And I'm here to tell you to not waste yours or anyone else's time on the semantics. All right, let's stay on point here. Okay. I mean, seriously, most people feel like failures because they're measuring daily success against achievement standards. If you are running a race against other runners and then your shoelace comes untied and you stop to tie the shoe so you don't fall on your face, you can't expect to stand up and get an applause, let alone secure the gold medal, right? And what's crazy is there's an unbelievable and scary amount of people walking around right now who actually believe that if they tie their shoes, they expect a gold medal. That mismatch is why they stay miserable. And I've seen it happen in many cases. And also, they tend to stay stupid. And this is not uncommon with people who make a lot of money, right? So let's go back to this runner for a second, okay? Imagine that in this race, everyone else didn't prepare ahead of time. And all of them have to stop for a minute to tie their shoes in the middle of the race. Now, our runner here is the only one who prepared. And so obviously, they crossed the finish line first because they didn't have to tie their shoe. Now, ask yourself, did they really achieve something? For me, I would say no. I understand that there were rules in play and that according to the rules of the course, they won and they get a medal as their prize. But I wouldn't stand up and applaud for the fact that they did the bare minimum that they should have done and somehow everybody else screwed up and so they won. Like, in fact, I would feel disappointed at the showmanship and professionalism of the rest because who knows if there was someone else who was about to show us something incredible, like breaking a record. But because of silly shoelaces, now the relatively average talent walked away the winner. So the point here is breaking the record or winning when it is tough and all the possible odds are stacked against you, yet you are the one who overcomes them. That is achievement. So the true way we should be saying it is you successfully achieved, not you achieved success. I'm going to say that again. You successfully achieved, not you achieved success. Now, there are many what I call fluffers out there who are probably not happy with me right now. But here's the thing. I am willing to accept the real cost of conviction, true conviction, which is the prerequisite to achievement. Because achievement inherently demands the line in the sand. And though I wish this wasn't true, here's where it gets brutal. Meaningful achievement demands conviction to be maxed out. And be maxed out in your conviction across all 12 characteristic variables. That means frequency, quality, consistency, continuity, clarity, and the rest all pointed at one thing. And that one thing is so important that nothing will get in the way of it. That costs something. It costs relationships. It costs comfort, sleep, peace of mind. Sometimes it costs money. It costs everything. And I've paid it. And guess what? If you want to achieve, you will pay it if you want more than average. Now, mind you, this works for those who have nefarious intentions as much as it works for those with the best of intentions. So look no further than our political system, and you will find it is filled with people who are convicted enough to kill for their positions and status and money. And they are willing to do the most evil and inhumane stuff that you can possibly think of out there. I mean, seriously, just look at the Epstein files as proof of this. Now, the good news is people like the founder of Chef Boyardee, they are people who are founders of philanthropic endeavors as well. And they are so convicted that they give back a part of their wealth to the community that gave that wealth and power to them in the first place. So it works for good and bad. And not to go too far off the political side of this, but it is important to remember that the people in power of your life are only there because you give them the power. You allow them to take from you. So don't be mad when they don't give anything back, especially when you don't have anything of value to offer in exchange. And speaking of a little to offer in exchange, if you're a person who's happy with the weekends, living for the weekend, working Taco Bell shifts and immediate gratification, just so you know that's all right. It's okay. I mean, we need people living that life. But if you want legacy, impact, something that outlives you, then there is no choice in the matter. You need conviction. You need to leverage FQ3C consciously or bang your head the hard way effectively. But the cool thing is that the tools are right here. I mean, it's your choice to either maximize your odds or stay stuck and continue to give your power and resources away without building yourself up in a way that the power and resources will return and come to you. So when we are talking about these resources turning to you, I want to show you briefly how FQ3C actually shifts your odds using data from what we call the success wheel. It's also called the 9 factors, which is the basically practical map to secure a ton of odds that most never take advantage of in their life. Now, I'm not going to go too deep here on this because we literally have a course on that goes over this in extreme detail. And we also have implementers who have seen on average a 300% increase in efficiency across the board in their lives just because of learning about these pieces in depth. So it's super valuable. But I really want to just breeze over a few of these just to make a point. Okay. So how do you actually do it? How do you actually add these odds in your favor? Well, you start with the 9 factors as your mathematical map. And this is all backed by decades of data and hundreds of thousands of people that have been monitored on this. Okay. So first, what you do is you write down the goal. You make it comprehensive with all 11 qualities. You track internals first, of course. Then you bring in accountability with skin in the game, which means that you also have the right mentality, right actions. You remove distractions and you stack the odds 1 factor at a time in your favor. Now, the 12 characteristics become your dashboard, measuring frequency, quality, consistency, continuity, and clarity, and the rest so that you can see where you're leaking conviction. And I say this leaking conviction because it's basically your fuel and you are the engine. If you have a leak, then your fuel will run out eventually, right? And bad utilization of your fuel in the tank means you won't get to your destination. Then you use the 3 phases of conviction manufacturing with FQ3C to turn anecdotal effort into empirical data. And when you do this, you stop guessing, you stop hoping, you start shifting your position on the bell curve towards the favorable tail meticulously. This process also allows you to stop manifesting through thoughts and instead do targeted manifestation through behavioral actions that increase odds. It's silly to go to a casino thinking if you just wing it, you'll walk out with a jackpot. You need to stack the odds in your favor with strategy, a plan, specific goals in mind, right? You need to, and even then, the house is against you. But when you squeeze out every single drop of odds, you stand to be in the best position you can to walk away the winner chicken dinner at the casino. And manifestation is all about Action, if you look the word up, it's not about sitting there on your hands, twiddling your thumbs, and just thinking it away, right? That's not right. Anyway, we don't have much time, so I'm going to drive this home for everybody who's listening. Yes, including you fluffs out there. So let's recap. So success ultimately is inevitable. You are doomed to succeed every day at the micro level, and achievement is actually rare. And to achieve, it takes intention. It requires conviction and absolutely requires costs. And most people stay stuck because they chase the wrong metric and won't pay the price to successfully achieve their goal. Now, FQ3C gives you the map and the dashboard to stack the odds and shift your position. You're in control. You're the one who has the ability to shift it to where you want it to go, which means that it's not magic. It's not fluff. It's work. But it's work that actually moves the needle tremendously in your favor. And also, don't let yourself try and achieve anything when your engine is leaking fuel. Okay. You need every ounce you can get for most of the achievements that are out there, at least. And in life, don't be dumb and go into one of these goals with holes in your engine block, right? So here is the bottom line. You are doomed to succeed every single day, whether you like it or not. The question is whether you will direct that success toward something meaningful or let it drift into comfort. FQ3C is either leveraged by you or against you. So choose wisely, measure the cost, and live without regret. And if you're ready to stop feeling like you're wasting your potential, then I encourage you. In fact, I urge you, go to fq3c.com. And we have an application called APAL coming out here very, very soon in the next couple of months in 2026. And this is literally the tool that's built to help you track and manufacture the conviction so that you can track that conviction starting as soon as humanly possible. Now, if you just can't wait for the app to come out, yeah, we've actually already been able to figure out how to do this using standard AI models. They're not as good as we want them to be, which is why we're doing the software. But if you can't wait, get in contact with us at fq3c.com. Get in contact with me. Message me directly. You can go to my LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Laufman Shane. You can go to any of our social medias. I believe if you go to fq3c.com/social media, you're going to get access to all of our links. And we also have a Facebook group for FQ3C certification. And of course, we have our pages. So connect with us anywhere. Send us a message. And at the end of the day, we want to see your conviction maximized. We want to see you use these 9 factors for every single one of your major goals. And we want to see you not just succeed, but we want to see you successfully achieve your goals. We'll see you on the other side.